Good afternoon, Kenrick. How are you?
I'm very well, John. How are you?
Not bad, thank you. Very good. Excellent. So, Kendrick Cabrera, thank you very much for joining CTO News Thursday vlog. And we look forward to learning more about Oxford International Education Group and the services and the challenges that you're solving within the EdTech space. And to begin with, it will be good to learn more about you and to understand exactly the challenges that you're solving within that space. So to begin with, please could you introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Kenrick Cabrera. I'm the CTO at Oxford International Education Group. I've been with the company since the start of this year, and I am leading a digital transformation program, which is really crucial to our growth aspirations over the course of the next 3 years.
Excellent, great to hear. Brilliant. So, what is Oxford International Education Group? What challenges is it solving within the education edtech space?
Sure. So we are a digital education services provider, and we exist to provide a range of, I guess, products and services to students, getting them better prepared to enter sort of UK university study and life. We've been around since 1991 when we launched our first summer school. We've got a total of 50,000 students in over 100 countries, and we've got around about 7 university partnerships which are growing, and a lot of those universities recognize our qualifications. Really, we are based in the UK, but we've also got presence in North America, Canada, and Mumbai.
Excellent, excellent. Versatile and well spread. Good to hear. So, with regards to the way that you organize and manage your teams, I know one of the questions that, as you know, CTOs are often asked, how do you manage conflict within your teams?
I tend to take a pretty open and honest sort of look at things, John. I think being transparent in terms of understanding where the sort of real issues are is quite important. I think it's healthy. I operate quite a flat structure in the team, so everyone gets a voice. And, I think it's important that, we understand that staff have lives outside of work as well, and that often influences what goes on in the office. So I think keeping that transparency, keeping those open lines of communication are really important. And that tends to work best and has always stood up in the past for me. So that tends to be how I manage it.
Excellent, excellent. And that leads me on to quite an important question, which is, can you share information on successful projects that you've worked on in the past, just providing brief highlights?
Sure. So in my last firm, which is PwC, I led the front office transformation for a major automotive manufacturer. They were struggling with, I guess, accommodating the large volume of sales through their showrooms across several European offices. And I really worked with their business teams to understand some of the key aspects of their front office processes, which were posing the most amount of pain. Often transformation programs are adopted with technology first and process after. I tend to do the opposite so that we understand the problems before we get to the solutions. And we eventually went with a software as a service document management solution, which was rolled out to all of the offices in the UK and across their showrooms in Europe as well. And that really improved the customer experience, really, as they stepped into the showrooms and so forth. So that was a real success for me. Worked really well all through the pandemic remotely as well. So a real success story from my perspective.
Excellent, great to hear. I think, we as an organization, i.e. IT Labs, has spent a lot of time working with and sort of collaborating with CTOs, and to hear of your success stories during COVID is really great to hear, because I know that a lot of organisations and their CTOs had challenges during that period. And it's just great to hear about how you delivered success working at PwC and specifically within the automotive sector.
I think it was good as well insofar as the project teams. One of the benefits coming out of COVID was your reach from a project perspective increased. So, we had quite broad teams, as you can imagine, sort of working across European geographies. In the past, would have involved a lot of travel, a lot of, moving around. In this way, I think it got us to a better place a lot more quickly. So there were certainly some advantages in terms of delivering the program in this way.
Okay, so who inspires you?
Ooh, that's a bit of a tough one, but I think I'd probably go with my wife, John. I think she's probably the most resilient and passionate person that I know. She, drawing on her sort of personal story, she came from a pretty poor background, but through sort of hard graft and determination, really made a real success out of life. And she keeps me sound. She keeps me honest. She's incredibly supportive of me as an individual. And I think yeah, it would. I'd have to say it's my wife, John.
I absolutely understand, and I would agree. They always say behind every successful man is a very strong woman. So it's great to hear you talk about your wife in that way. And I wish you and her continued success in all your endeavors. Great.
Thank you.
So how do you stay current with technology? What sort of technologies are you keeping abreast of in your spare time?
So I tend to join a lot of podcasts and sort of webinars from platform vendors. Particularly within our sector, there's a lot of movement with the big CRM providers at the minute, and which is good to see, because we really need a lot of change within our sector when it comes to improving the student experience. So, from my perspective, I tend to join, a lot of the webinars that are ongoing. I think that gives the most topical information and really helps keep me sound. So, of course, I subscribe to usual sort of online digital the digital sort of magazines and whatnot. But I find that the webinars bring the most amount of value from my perspective.
Excellent. Great to hear once again. I think there's an education piece to be done around that. And, the vendors and the various, podcasts or webinars environment absolutely addresses that sort of need to know, whether it be from an individual user perspective, are you a student, or from the other side of the fence, which is a business owner or business user. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, I think it's the interactivity as well. You're able to pose questions, hear what others are thinking. I think that collaborative way of delivering sort of online knowledge is quite crucial, really. So and it helps you to connect with others as well. So I use that as a sort of a source of staying current and increasing the size of the network as well.
Excellent. Okay. So which technology most interests you?
Well, at this point in my technology career, I would have to say it's CRM platforms are my biggest interest area at the minute, and robotics process automation, so RPA, as it's known as well. So they both offer a lot of, or have the opportunity to offer a lot of value within the higher education space, which, for a lot of firms and a lot of companies, a lot of stuff is still being done manually. So those technologies just give you the opportunity to improve the student experience, but also get rid of a lot of the sort of manual processes that are ongoing at the minute. And I find those two things really, really useful at this stage.
Excellent. Okay. So in terms of your superpower, I'm sure you've got one. What would you say that is?
I think what would I go with, John? I'd say my superpower is probably being decisive and driving change in organizations. A lot of these programs they tend to be large beasts, far-reaching organizations, and I'm really sort of passionate about bringing and representing the value in terms of what we do from both from a tech and business perspective as early as we can. So really focusing people and driving change as quickly as we can, I think is what I class as my superpower. You know, you've got a lot of I guess programs that take forever to deliver value, and I think, you know, the business loses interest. Those aren't the good ones, right? And for me, being able to take a step back from all of it and say, well, actually, what are the top 3 things that you need to get done within the next, you know, 6 to 9 months or whatever it might be, and we focus on that, and then we go again. That iterative approach of doing things tends to drive change within a lot of organizations. So yeah, I guess being decisive and driving change, I'd say, is my superpower, John.
Brilliant. I think, you know, driving change, as you just described, using that iterative and agile approach is what's needed currently in this climate of whether it be COVID or various other factors that's happening around the world. So it's great to hear that you're being innovative in terms of how you're addressing that. Excellent. So in your spare time, Kenrick, what do you do?
Right, if I do have spare time, John, that is. I'd say most of my time is really spent with my son and my wife. I've got a 10-year-old, so most of my, you know, weekend activities are based around him. He loves music, he plays violin, he loves his football. So, you know, that's half the weekend gone for those parents out there. And you know, my wife and I, we like eating out, trying new restaurants, and we got into MasterChef throughout the pandemic as well. Yeah, I guess it's really based around a family life. We do love to travel as things are opening up again, you know, so we've got a few holidays booked in, which we'll be taking advantage of. Yeah, very much based on family life, John.
Excellent. And if you don't mind me asking, who do you support?
For my sins, not a very successful team, Man United. So we've not had a great season, John. But I'm hopeful that the new sort of managerial appointments will bring a bit more success than our current incumbents.
Absolutely, and I would agree with you. I am also a Manchester United supporter.
So you can sympathise with me, John.
Absolutely can sympathise, and I think it's good to know that the cup arrived in the right city this year.
Indeed.
Excellent. Okay. Well, Kenrick, thank you very much for your time today. Absolutely pleasure learning more about yourself and Oxford International Education Group. Also learning more about the challenges that you're solving within the whether it be education space, the EdTech space, and how you're looking at CRM as a tool to deliver value and success, not only to your business, but also to your students. So thank you very much for your time, and we wish you every success in the future.
Thank you very much, John. Speak soon.
Thank you.